the thing about Formula One is it was always on TV. It was always on TV, you know, every other weekend in the summer there was a race on, so the television would be on. And so I remember the Senna Prost era. I remember watching it, I remember that rivalry, I remember the accidents between them. And the final race, Imola, I was watching live back in Hackney in Stoke Newington, my parents' house. So it was quite a vivid kind of memory of where I was at a particular moment. While I was at college, it happened. But I was in no way on authority on Senna the man. And really the big journey while making the movie was to really learn about what he stood for away from the racing and what he stood for and what he meant to Brazil, I suppose.
The process of researching and learning about the subject, or whatever the film's about, wherever it's set, the culture of the people, comes during the writing process normally. So often there's a nugget of an idea, there's a crux of an idea. It could be summed up in a line or 2 lines, which is the movie that you want to make. And that's the bit you have to remember over the 5, 6, 7 years it takes to make a film.
My worry was always, how do we make the film work for people who are not racing fans, who are not Formula One fans? It has to somehow transcend, the obvious kind of Formula One racing documentary. And so we had to somehow find a way to get under the skin. But there was just something unique about him as a man and how big he was in his sport at that particular moment, where there were cameras everywhere, and there were cameras in his job, and there were cameras in meetings, and but it was also before YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, before public relations had kicked in. So they would say what they thought on the record, on tape, and they didn't care what anyone thought. And for us, that was amazing. For us, that was amazing drama.
My experience of gaining trust of the subject or whatever you're making a film about, the main thing you need is time. And I think it's been an interesting process. I've worked in television, I've worked in commercials, I've made shorts, I've made features, and I suppose what I like about feature films generally, whether they're drama or documentary, is that you have time to make films. That's just the way my brain works. It takes me a while to understand what the films are actually about and to get it together.
What was his family's reaction when they saw it for the first time?
Yeah, it was about, it was a year ago, last year's Cannes Film Festival. It was around the time of the Monaco Grand Prix. And because Senna's nephew, Bruno, was racing in the Monaco Grand Prix, the family had flown over. So we hired a little cinema during the Cannes Festival and put the film on. There were about 15 family members in the film. It was the first time they'd seen anything. We'd been on the film for about 3-4 years and never shown them the complete film at all. And so it was pretty nerve-wracking for us, and it was very, very, very emotional for them.